North Korean missiles hit the heart of Kyiv. Hey there, how's everyone doing? We're so happy to have people tuning in from all over the world. If you're new here, welcome to the family. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I feel like in every video, I keep saying today is the most intense attack, and I always ask myself, am I going to keep saying this every time? But honestly, it is the most intense attack every time. Russia keeps outdoing itself with the number of strikes. Today, we're talking about one of the biggest drone attacks on Kyiv. Not just Kyiv, but also Odesa and several other cities. There's even a Russian advance in Dnipropetrovsk, with noticeable consequences. And we've got some other big developments in the Russia-Ukraine war. New updates, and not just more strikes, but different kinds of weapons. We'll break it all down in this video. Last night, Russia launched one of the largest attacks on Kyiv since the beginning of the war. According to Zelensky, Russia hit various parts of Ukraine, including Kyiv, with 315 drones. Can you imagine that number? That's just the number aimed at Kyiv. Some people might say that's not a big number, but in terms of air defense systems, it's massive. Along with the drones, they also launched 7 ballistic missiles. According to reports, including from the BBC, 8 different districts in Kyiv were targeted, basically the whole city. That means these attacks weren't random. They were carefully planned and knew exactly what they were aiming for. Odesa was also hit hard. Beautiful coastal Odesa, known for its art and culture in Ukraine. But let's focus on something important. Zelensky said that out of the 315 drones, Ukraine managed to shoot down 284. Not bad. But from Russia's perspective, it's still a success. Why? Because Russia has recently been using a flooding tactic, launching massive numbers of drones and missiles all at once. It's been happening since the start of their so-called Spider operation, which began about a week ago. Now, this tactic serves 2 main purposes. First, it helps Russia identify weak spots in Ukraine's air defense, and second, it forces Ukraine to burn through a lot of its expensive air defense missiles. If Russia keeps doing this, Ukraine could soon face some serious shortages in both air defense systems and ammunition. So in a way, Russia is slowly wearing them down. Here's the big question. Why is Russia doing this, and what's their goal? Let's break it down. Most of the drones used were Shahed drones. You probably know them as the Iranian Shahed 136. These drones are cheaper alternatives to cruise missiles. They fly low to avoid radar and usually travel in swarms. So even if air defenses shoot down 10, a few will break through and hit their targets. That means Russia is using cheaper weapons to drain Ukraine's expensive defense systems. And here's the shocking part. According to Zelensky, out of the 7 ballistic missiles launched, 2 were made in North Korea. If that's true, it confirms Russia is intentionally using low-cost weapons like Iranian drones and North Korean missiles to conserve its own expensive, high-precision stockpiles for later. This shows Russia is building a strategic reserve, probably for a future phase in the war, either in Ukraine or beyond. Now let's talk about what's happening in Dnipropetrovsk. According to the Institute for the Study of War, which is based in Washington, Russian forces have entered the administrative areas of Dnipropetrovsk. The Russian 90th Armored Division has reportedly advanced into the northwestern areas near Kharkiv, which borders the Donetsk region. This puts major pressure on Ukrainian forces. The institute suggests that Russia's actions in Dnipropetrovsk could have several objectives: securing areas bordering Donetsk, cutting off supply lines, or even preparing to take over Dnipropetrovsk itself because of its huge strategic value. And we've talked before about its mines and industrial zones. There's another point. Russia wants to create a larger region they're calling Novorossiya, which would include Donetsk, Luhansk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and Dnipropetrovsk. So they're trying to take it all in one go. Of course, Ukraine denies the Russian advance. They say Russia tried to enter Dnipropetrovsk but didn't succeed, and that the Ukrainian 31st Mechanized Brigade was deployed to stop them. Ukraine also insists its brave soldiers are holding the line. But honestly, even though Ukraine is saying that, it's expected. They're not going to publicly admit they lost territory. It would demoralize their troops even more, and morale is already low. Still, Ukraine isn't just sitting back. Last night, they launched their own drone attacks on a Russian airbase called Savasalika in a place called Nizhny Belgorod. Yeah, weird name, but that's what it's called. According to Ukrainian sources, they destroyed 2 jets, a MiG-31 and a Su-34. The MiG-31 is especially significant because it carries Kinzhal hypersonic missiles. And interestingly, some Russian bloggers confirmed there was an attack on that base. So yes, Ukraine is hitting back using its own drones. Their attacks aren't as large as Russia's, but they focus on high-value targets like expensive aircraft, oil refineries, and strategic locations. This forces Russia to shift air defense units away from the front lines to protect airbases, easing some pressure on Ukrainian troops. These attacks also cause psychological pressure inside Russia. There have even been temporary flight disruptions at airports in Moscow and St. Petersburg. Despite all this, the Russian assault is still way more intense on a daily basis. Just last night, Russia claimed it shot down 102 Ukrainian drones. To sum it all up, Russia is launching massive coordinated attacks using cheap drones and North Korean missiles. Ukraine is trying to respond with targeted drone strikes of its own. On the ground, Russia is advancing in key areas like Dnipropetrovsk. All signs point to a larger full-scale Russian offensive coming soon. So,